Steeler, it feels like I got punched in the stomach. Honestly, unexpected. I wasn't prepared to hit this to be punched in the stomach because clearly the Steelers were willing and was ready to select Makai Lemon, a guy who I really love in terms of what he does at the offensive side of the ball. And I think the Steelers never thought that Philly would do business with a divisional foe or vice versa, with the Cowboys doing business with the Philadelphia Eagles. But voila, it happened. And this is what Philly has done because according to our very own GM here, Howie did the same switcheroo on you, right? Pull the rug underneath you and moving up because he felt like there was a guy you was going to get, so you don't get him. Guess what he does? Trades up in front of you.
Jalen Carter, right?
Jalen Carter, yeah. Right? So I respect Howie for understanding and working the room. And for me, it's like, you know, ordering a meal from your favorite restaurant and your mind is fixated on getting this meal because you know they have it every Tuesday, like a Tuesday special, right? And you know they have it.
Taco Tuesday. Oxtails.
Whatever it is. Taco Tuesdays. And you know what? I'm going to get oxtails. I'm going to get some tacos on Taco Tuesday, whatever the case may be. And when you get there, they tell you, oh, we just ran out. What? No, that's how I feel right now being with the Pittsburgh Steelers because you had your guy and you was on the phone and he thought he was going to be a Pittsburgh Steelers and then instantly Howie traded up in front of the Steelers to go get Makai Lemon, who I think is going to be a fantastic player because I love what he did at USC. So great job by Howie, tough for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pete, what does this mean for A.J. Brown?
What does it mean for A.J. Brown? I think he's going to get traded. I think he is gone. And to be honest with you, I think that thing had run its course. I think a lot of things had run their course in Philadelphia. I mean, you look at the Eagles, the stories coming out about Jalen Hurts, and believe me, we've heard a bunch of stories that are going on in that team. And some people said that maybe A.J. Brown isn't even the worst problem on that team. So the reality is I think he's going to be traded. I think he wants to be traded. I think New England is in play for possibly being traded. And it makes sense to get him out of there.
So Rand.
Remember, they also got Wicks from the Packers.
I was going to say, they have Dontavian Wicks. They signed Hollywood Brown. Yeah. Now they have Makai Lemon and obviously Slim Reaper and Devonta Smith. Are they going to get a first-round pick for A.J. Brown?
I think it remains to be seen.
I don't think they do.
We know Howie. He is going to press for one. And if he can't get a straight-up one, he'll try to take multiple picks. That will give the go ahead, B-Mac. I see it on your face.
Yeah, because we're hearing all kind of rumors, right? We don't know if these are clean rumors or dirty rumors, but we're hearing rumors about the Patriots trying to figure out what's going on with George Pickens. George just signed his franchise tag today, right? And we thought he would wait so he wouldn't have to show up for anything. But with him signing that tag today, clearly he believes there's a suitor for him in terms of trading for his services. So if you're Howie, if you're the New England Patriots, to Pete's point about Patriots and A.J. Brown, maybe I understand you have a June date that you need to be mindful of, right? But understanding and knowing the New England Patriots had the 31st pick, not knowing what their pick could be next year, and knowing that you would much rather have a pick this year, wouldn't you try to make something happen now?
Well, I mean, to your point, if indeed George Pickens signed the franchise tag because there's a potential trade option, now it becomes a true negotiation because it's A.J. Brown, I'm assuming, A.J. Brown.
Hypothetical.
Or
George Pickens.
Or George Pickens. And so now
But A.J. Brown's still under contract. And so
and you would
if
have
you
to pay
trade
George.
for George Pickens, you're going to have to pay him.
Wait,
well, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to do something for A.J. Brown anyway. You're going to have to convert some of that money.
Right.
To
you could do like you did like they did with Dexter Lawrence.
As
you
a
could give him
GM, why would you trade away one headache for potentially a worse migraine?
I didn't say I would. I'm just.
But is that?
But you're talking about who are you talking about?
You send away A.J. and you take on George Pickens. Why is that better?
No, you're talking about George Pickens going to the Patriots.
Oh, I got you.
Because clearly we've been hearing ties with the
Patriots want a wide receiver. A.J. Brown's here, George Pickens is here, and now maybe they have an opportunity to play each other. And if that's the case, then the price might come down on A.J. Brown.
I see. I was in my own thoughts here.
He's Haitian from Canada.
But
that's a whole story. I got lost in my own
and also too, to Pete's point, with the Eagles acquiring Wicks and now getting Makai Lemon, it's almost like you're trying to find a way to move A.J. because
But here's the thing, but you also lessen your negotiation power.
Right.
Yeah.
By making these moves, now it's like, look, you have to move on.
You have to move them.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to the Dallas Cowboys, where I think George Pickens still plays there. I was confused for a moment. I got my notes right here. I do know this: they traded up one spot and got Caleb Downs, and then they traded down a few spots to 23 and got Malachi Lawrence. I give that an A.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And by the way, I'm going to sit here in late April and say it. The Dallas Cowboys are not only going to win the damn division, they're going to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. And how many times have we heard that in Dallas, right?
A lot.
Oh, my God, this is Dallas's year. You know what? For all the criticism that Jerry Jones has taken, and believe me, a lot of it is deserved, when this team takes the field and the way they're constructed right now, new look defense, you add those guys to that defense, you add a pass rusher with twitch, you add the guy in the back end, the Dallas Cowboys are going to score a ton of points on offense. That team is going to be a Super Bowl contender, and they will win the East.
Oh, I thought you was going to say they will win. I thought you were going to be that definitive in April that they were going to win the Super Bowl.
Not yet. I got to see more.
Listen, I won't push back on that at all. I love what they've done this offseason, because bigger than going to get all the players that they've gotten, starting in October at the trade deadline, October, November, whatever it was, you go get a new defensive coordinator. And not only do you go get a new defensive coordinator, you get it from a division opponent and that holds a defensive structure that you have probably struggled with. So now you get to implement that, and not only are you getting to implement it to help your team and be a nuisance to other teams, but now you face it every day. And now you have a game plan in place to beat that defense that you're going to have to play twice a year in Philly. So I love what Dallas has done. Again, I don't think there's anybody that's outdrafted Dallas over the last 10 years.
They've done a good job.
And I would love to see someone put it side by side, because the draft and player acquisition hadn't been an issue. It's been the retention of these guys that has become more of an issue. So we say Jerry, we say Steven. I'm going to throw Will McClay in there.
Yes.
Because Will McClay has done a hell of a job. And at some point soon, we're going to see him running someone's organization and turning someone's organization around the way he's helped turn.
They need one more addition.
A linebacker.
Because they don't have a second-round pick.
Yeah, they don't pick again for a little bit here.
Till
They
the
don't pick
third
again
round,
till
right, Ryan?
Pick 92.
So at 92, if they can hope that Trotter is still on the board.
Yeah.
This off-ball linebacker class is so deep, he may be gone. They're going to find somebody
Yeah.
else.
But here's what, 100%, don't disagree. But and the reason why I'm bringing this up, because I have said this probably the last 3-4 years about the Rams linebacker core. They need a linebacker.
They're not very good.
But they've never addressed it, and they continue to be a really good defense.
Cowboys, by the way, one quick thing. Line, quarterback.
All right, before we take a break, I'll ask you all. Over under 11.5 next year for the Dallas Cowboys.
Over. I'll go
Over.
Over.
Man, you guys just fall right in line.
Star, baby.
All right, let's take another Delane, who is all of our CB cornerback one, given Jermon McCoy's injury concerns.
Yeah, I have no issue with them, because you don't want to get Howie Roseman, right? Sit and wait, and another team go get him. And I understand me and Pete had the discussion about who potentially could get Delane. I think the New Orleans Saints were definitely targeting him, because they need cornerback play. And we all felt like he would be the only corner that would be worthy to be a top 10 pick, right? So for Kansas City, you lost both starting corners from a year ago in Watson and McDuffie. It was a big-time need. And you get a guy who has position flexibility. I think he can play inside. We know he's been more of an outside corner throughout his collegiate year last year at LSU, but he has the mindset to be able to play inside if you need be. He's a handsy guy. He's an all-around corner, in my opinion. So I love that move with the first selection, and then doubling down with another defender with the second selection in the first round was huge.
Yeah, look, you moved up to go get him. You gave up a couple picks to do it. You don't know for a fact that they would have taken him. You might have assumed that. So you got to look at it and say, okay, was it worth giving up 2 later picks to go up 3 spots to go get the corner? And the answer to that, we don't know, because we don't know who's going to take it. But he's clearly a guy they needed. I mean, he's a good corner. They have corner issues. It kind of goes against sometimes of what they've done in recent years, though. They found corners. I mean, they didn't draft them. They weren't highly drafted guys. McDuffie was, but Snead wasn't, and Williams wasn't, and Watson wasn't. I mean, so they found guys. So It goes against it a little bit, but I like the move. I think they needed to address it, and getting the pass rusher and the defensive lineman, I mean, they can push the pocket. They need to push the pocket. They haven't been the same team. Chris Jones, great player, but they need to be able to push the pocket more.
And we talked a lot in the pre-draft process.
And you know how I feel about that guy, by the way. I like him a lot.
You're a big Peter Woods guy, but we talked a lot about Caleb Downs in particular being next to Chris Jones. I would imagine Peter Woods will have an opportunity to excel as well.
Yeah, I mean, because again, you get to be
Caleb Banks, sorry.
Yeah, you get to be in a room on a day-to-day basis with an all-pro player, right? And you get to learn how to become a pro. And that system and that organization is so structured, especially under Spags, calling his defense. He gets to learn. And now, again, he's found a little bit of what works for him from a weight perspective and what doesn't work for him. And now he gets to, again, go into this system that's already operating and running, right? And now you get to go into one of the better organizations in the league, one of the better teams in the league, with arguably one of the best head coaches in the league as a young guy. And you know that you're going to get coached and you know you're going to get developed.
You know what's interesting about that pick, too, is if you go back even to all the Super Bowl teams, the one spot that was always a little concerning was the one next to Chris Jones. You know, they tried it with Derek Nottie and those kind of guys.
It was a revolving door.
Yeah, and now they finally have a guy you can put right there and say, hey, you two together, go up the field and attack.
And if they can unlock Peter Woods from 2024,
right?
Wow.
Well, he's got to get the weight back.
Yeah,
he got too thin.
Unlock that
he was
guy.
325 or whatever a year ago. Played really well 2 years ago. Got down to 298 because he thought it would help him, and it hurt him. Yeah. He's going to get back to that weight.
And you know what's interesting? We talked a lot in the weeks and months leading up to this draft about all the cornerbacks and how much depth there is. Do you guys know how many cornerbacks went in the first round? Two.
Yes.
We knew about Jamal McCoy's injury concerns.
Yep.
Colton Hood, we thought had a chance. The other Tennessee corner, he didn't go.
Pons.
D'Angelo Pons.
And that's why I'm okay with Kansas City moving up, because clearly it wasn't a deep first-round cornerback class like we've seen in years past. I don't know the last time we only saw two corners go in the first round.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know, for Spags, he's going to want to play man.
Right.
Yeah. He's going to want to play man. He's going to want to have a guy that can put their hands on guys, be physical, get body to body on them. And Mansour Delane was one of the better guys being able to do that.
Yep.
All right. Producer Lucas, we want to go winners and losers now, or we want to take a quick break? What are you thinking? All right, let's take another quick break here. And we talked about this all summer. Went from Cal, where he took a whooping routinely, and it was clear to us that he had what it potentially took to work his way into the first round and now first overall pick. Just give me a couple thoughts on the progress he made from the summer to April 23rd here.
I think the biggest thing is he was surrounded by better talent and he was better protected. I think at Auburn, not at Auburn, I think at Cal, he got his teeth kicked in every week.
Sacked over 40 times.
But continue to get up and answer the bell and have them in football games. And he went to a place that was better able to protect him and clearly had better weapons around him.
And that's why my winner are Raiders fans. I think, Pete, they finally have a reason to be excited.
Yes, absolutely.
Any concerns about the Tom Brady potential intervention, the ownership maybe leaning on Tom Brady? Any of that stuff bother you?
Listen, Tom Brady has too many jobs to be in there day-to-day working with Fernando
absolutely
Mendoza.
not. Okay. And you know what? If Fernando Mendoza needs to get some advice from a quarterback, he has an old guy in the backup, and he's got a guy that's won Super Bowls as the owner. So I think it's a great situation. If you're a Raider fan, you should be encouraged by this. And you know what you talked about last year at Cal? I remember watching him against Miami, and he was ripping that damn thing. And you're sitting there saying, this kid has potential. Did I think he would go to be the #1 pick in the draft? Probably not, but I thought he had a chance to be a first-round pick. They should be excited about it.
B-Mac, do you know who my other winner is?
Who?
Cam Ward and Tyler Shuck, because I got Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson.
Yeah.
You feel okay with that?
I'm okay with that as well. I think when you have a young quarterback, if you want to see growth and development, give them some guys that can make their life a little easier. I love what Tyler Shuck did to end the season for the New Orleans Saints, kept them relevant, kept them in that playoff conversation, and now adding one of the more dynamic wide receivers in the game in Tyson. I love, and the same can be said for Cam Ward as well.
B-Mac, Moran, who puts up...
Who are you?
As if I don't do the show with this dude every day. You done call me B-Mac, Logan Jones. You done call me everything but my damn name.
Typically, I've been asleep 5 hours right now. But I want to ask you, Rand Carthon, Who puts up bigger numbers next year? Not the wide receivers, but is it Cam Ward or is it Tyler Shuck?
Ooh, that is an excellent question. And if I had to go off the top of my head right now, I'd probably give the nod to Cam. Because I think there's more depth at the wide receiver position around him, and you have the young tight end in Gunnar Helm, who I think is going to be really good.
Texas.
And
You're a big Tyler Gunnar guy, yeah.
By the way, the best thing about this draft for the Saints and what they've done in the offseason, they went out and got ETN/HN or whatever his name is, and they got help on the offensive line, and they're going to use this year to find out what Tyler Shuck is all about.
Yeah.
They gave him a chance. He now has another weapon with the
Well,
go
he
with
earned the chance.
But again, you don't know over that short sample size. Yeah. Now you have a chance and you can find out who he truly is. If he goes out there and just lights it up, he's their quarterback for the long term.
You know what? I'm glad you said all of that. I want to change my answer, change my pick.
All right,
I'm gonna go with Tyler Shuck because I'm thinking about Chris Olave.
Yeah,
and
that's why I looked at you
and
like
now
that.
you have Jordan Tyson.
They brought in Noah Fant, the tight end.
Alvin Kamara.
We're not
Offensive.
And you still
I'm
got.
just saying.
You still have Alvin
Find somebody
Kamara.
that loves you on a one-year deal like B-Mac loves you.
I love one-year deals.
Noah Fant.
And all I'm seeing in my head is Jordan Tyson winning at the line of scrimmage with his release work.
And another thing,
being able to catch the ball and have room to go.
Shuck can rip the ball. That ball's going down the field. They're going to be a team that drives the ball down the field.
And another thing that works in Tyler's favor, and the defense is he don't have to see. He don't have to see Houston twice a year like Cam would.
That's true.
Right? You look at Jacksonville and what they're building defensively twice a year. And the Colts, they're going to be serviceable as well. You don't have that same firepower in the NFC South defensively.
And Kellen Moore can call plays.
Yeah.
Right. It'll be Kellen Moore in our conversation here versus Bryant Dable, which is also be interesting. B-Mac, one of your winners, also, he was born and named Ty as well.
No question. My biggest winner is Ty Simpson. You talk about one of the more major surprises in the first round. Ty Simpson going 13, right? Not only going 13, but going to an organization in terms of stability and offensive structure. The Rams have that. And I think when we all talked about Ty Simpson coming into tonight's draft, we all said, well, if he go in the first round, he's going to be in the back end. And it would be to a team maybe like the Arizona Cardinals or the New York Jets, right? But for the Rams to do what they did today, if you're Ty Simpson, you have to be elated because, number one, you go to a well-established offense in terms of head coaching and coaching in totality, and you're not forced to play this season.
I want to ask you, and I want to hear what Pete and Mr. Rand has to say.
Who, me? You got my name right?
I stumbled.
Finally.
You saw me stumble. Now, in the break, we were watching Sean McVay and Les Snead very awkwardly sit at a press conference that felt a lot like the Colts press conference when they named, what's his name, the head coach, the former player, and Chris Ballard just sitting there like a hostage. What do you make of that? Because that was weird.
That wasn't encouraging if you're a fan of the Rams because it felt like they weren't all in.
About the decision to draft.
Because Sean McVay, we've seen Sean McVay doing post-draft pressers when he's talking about the guys they just selected, and we've seen more excitement, more emotion. It felt like he wasn't happy, right? And you can take it for whatever you want to take it, but based on what we see and and just his body language and expression, it felt like he wasn't happy. But if you're Ty Simpson, you can care less.
Yeah,
right?
Ty Simpson doesn't care, but that was telling to me. He looked more downtrodden than he did after he lost the championship game.
And also, if you don't love a player, Rand, and he comes into the building and he's struggling early on, I would imagine subconsciously or otherwise, it's going to affect your judgment of that young player.
Yeah, I was always taught that you never give coaches players they don't want to coach. Because it's not going to be advantageous for the player. It's not going to be advantageous for the coach.
Just then.
And so, again, that was very awkward to see, and I would hope to learn a little bit more behind that. Maybe that's not what we think it is. Let's just hope
Don't worry,
that's
we'll
the
find
case.
out.
But the thing is, for me, and going back to Ty Simpson being a winner, Ty Simpson had offers to return to school for $6.5 million, and now you go 13.
Yes.
Well, you're going to be guaranteed at least $25
Yes,
million.
no question.
So he bet on
He won.
himself,
He won.
and he won.
And get this, though. Sean said he's going to compete with Stetson Bennett.
But Pete and I have been saying
like
for
Stetson Bennett.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stetson Simpson versus Stetson Bennett. Let's
remember,
go.
I threw out Stetson's name earlier in the show in terms of what he did at Georgia when y'all was talking about Carson Beck. But just hearing that alone, you just drafted him in 13th, and now you got to compete with Stetson Bennett. We all thought he wouldn't be number 2.
Yeah.
But we all find out. Hopefully, our guy Rand can give us some inside information.
Pete, you're winner of the Dallas Cowboys. You talked about them earlier, and I don't know what else you can say. You said they're going to win the Super Bowl. By the way, I'll say
He
this.
didn't say that.
No, I didn't say they would win the Super
Well,
Bowl.
he said, you see
I
how he
said they're
putting
a
that?
Super Bowl contender.
One of our colleagues texted me and said it sounds like Pete is due a drug test based on your contention. He's an Eagles fan, based on your contention that the Cowboys
I know who that is.
I know who that is, too. Look, the bottom line is they're good on the offensive line because they've drafted well there.
Yes.
They're going to be good on the defensive line because they got Quinnen Williams in that group, and now they add a pass rusher to go with it. You look at the secondary, that's coming together. And so, all in all, you got a quarterback that can put up big numbers as well. They're going to be more physical in the run game, provided everybody stays healthy on that offensive line.
Yeah.
Where are the Cowboys bad? And we talked about linebacker. They'll find one in the third or
Well,
fourth
I'll
round.
say this.
If Overshawn comes back and plays like he did a couple years ago, then they'll be better at linebacker. But they still need another one.
I think in terms of, I agree, I think they're going to compete for the division.
I think they're winning the division.
I think they can win the division as well. I can see them winning over 11 games, right? But what happens with George Pickens, right? If you can keep him in uniform, I think they can win a championship with him. If you can keep him in uniform. But if you move on from George Pickens, you don't know what you will get in return, regardless if it's a pick or a player that can fit the offense like George Pickens did. Because last year they had 2 wide receiver ones.
But are you going to have angry George Pickens playing on a franchise tag?
That's what I'm saying.
Do you want that?
How can you keep him happy in a uniform regardless if he doesn't get a new deal? But if they don't have George Pickens, I still believe they can do everything you said. But I think having George Pickens in that uniform along with the defense, they can win a championship in L.A. next season.
I think it's George Pickens that elevates this thing.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I think it's George.
But happy George Pickens. You don't want him complaining and moaning and
I
groaning.
want to say this before Ryan jumps in and tell us that we got to move on because
I got to be the
he's
bad
got to be
cop.
in the mean stepdad over here.
Right. Well, I got to be a stepdad.
Because you're behaving like one. You forgetting my name. But here's what I want to say. We will finally get to see who the real George Pickens is this year.
What do you mean?
From the standpoint, you're on a 1-year deal. And if he's with this ball club, you got a lot to play for, right? So you can't. No. You can't go out here and be angry man, pouting, bad body language. This is what people are already saying about you, and this is why no one's paid you thus far.
Well, my thing is this. In terms of the business, George Pickens had a phenomenal year with 1,400 yards, one of the best receivers in the league, statistically speaking. So he's deserving of seeing a contract. Unfortunately for George Pickens, they're already paying CeeDee Lamb top-tier money. So it's hard for Dallas to do that.
It's not hard. It's not hard. You know why it's not hard?
Why?
Because we got an example in Cincinnati.
T. Higgins ain't getting top wide receiver money, though. It's a nice gap of separation between T. T is getting north of 27.
Do you think any part of that is they're reluctant to pay him because they want to see what he can do for another year?
No.
Yeah.
Because I know this much.
Oh, yes, that's exactly why
You know this much as a former GM. When you trade and give up a third-round pick for a player, right, you want to get at least 3 or 4 years out of that player. You don't pay a player and say, you know what, we're going to only have you 2 years. We tag you. You finish your current contract and then we tag
Yes, you do. If you have what you've done in your past, you do.
Here's what you do. If you give up a third-round pick for a player, or you give up a second-round pick, typically when that pick is swapped, there's players coming in with a new deal already.
Usually, and that's what confused me last year.
And so the issue is he had to prove to them who he was. It wasn't the product on the field. They knew they were getting a great player, but you don't know him. You don't know the day-to-day that is George Pickens. And so he had to prove it in that building. And so now, again, when you know as a player, as a human, that if I ball out, which is totally in his control, and I am the best representative of myself as a person, which is totally in his control, then I will be taken care of and get my money, whether it's in Dallas or somewhere else. But if you go out here and do all the antics and all of that, you're feeding into the hands of what everyone else
The Cowboys do what they always do. They wait too late. Like they wait too late with Dak Prescott. Like they waited too late with CeeDee Lamb. When they traded George last year, and by the month of October, November, when George was doing what he was doing, offer him 3 for $60.
Well, you know,
right? 3 for $60.
He was not taking that.
You don't know that, but just throw it out there.
But I know
right?
Because they still wanted to see what he was in their building.
You know what he is and put language in the contract.
I guarantee you they still don't know, which is why they put the tag on.
Why they shouldn't trade for him.
And who is his agent?
Mulugeta.
Well, they got to figure it out.
So you guys, in the span of 8 minutes, have talked yourselves into this team going from the Super Bowl to having the first overall pick next year.
I said
No,
they're
no, no,
Super Bowl
say that.
contenders. I said they're Super Bowl
I'm
contenders.
kidding.
Me and Rand agree. With George Pickens, they can win a Super Bowl.
Correct.
Without George, they still a quality playoff caliber
still
team.
No,
but I'm not quite ready to say that they can win a championship.
I agree with that. I think that's fair. Rand, your winner are the Kansas City Chiefs, and based on what they did in the first round, Monster Delane, Peter Woods traded up and stayed put. Who's going to have a better record next year? Their Dallas Cowboys or your Kansas City Chiefs?
I would lean early on the Dallas Cowboys having a better record,
Just
simply because we don't know the health of Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know his health. Even if he suits up week 1, we don't know how healthy he is and how
Can he move?
Can he be Patrick Mahomes and do the things that make Patrick Mahomes special? I picked these guys as my winner because I don't want to speak for everybody up here, but I will say that we all felt comfortable that Peter Woods coming into the year would be a top 5 pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And I think most people would say that he was DT number 1 on their list.
Yep.
That's why I've stood firm. I don't believe he forgot how to play football. A lot of things went bad at Clemson last year. You could say that across the board for a lot of people over there. This kid did not forget how to play football. There are some things he has to figure out in terms of what's the correct weight, his usage, position, all of that stuff. This is a super talented kid, and you get him at 29.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
And then you go and get the number 1 corner in the draft class that can do everything that you want to do. Their defense, which has been a thorn in their side, their defense got significantly better. You get an interior rusher to now go along with Chris Jones, and you can move him around, and you got a guy that could take the ball away.
And how much easier is it to go from Clemson, where you are the dude inside, even though you had T.J. Parker, even DeMonte Capar to a degree, to now having Chris Jones be your mentor, so to speak?
All these kids, and we talked to a ton of these kids, all these kids are looking for mentors.
Right.
They're looking for the vet to, how many guys that we talk about, those pass rushers, hey, what if Cleveland takes you? Oh my God, to be with Myles Garrett, I'll follow him around like a little puppy, I'll do whatever
Pete made
he
fun
wants.
of me. Ruben Bain sat down. He said, "Oh, Ryan has you going 6." He said, "Thank you. I would love to go play opposite Myles Garrett."
And so all these guys are looking for mentors, especially one that have that carry the name, right? Because they know the name. And then once they see the name, they see the production, they see how much these guys are getting paid. Why wouldn't you want to follow that?
By the way, when you watch him on tape, Clemson had him standing up, rushing the pass. I don't know what the hell they were doing with him. Kansas City and Steve Spagnuolo are going to use him the right way, and he's going to become a force in the middle of that defense.
All right, let's take another break here. We're going to come back and talk about our losers, and these aren't necessarily going to be draft picks. Potentially people currently on the roster. The post-first-round pick press conference from the Rams, where it certainly doesn't seem like the GM and the head coach are on the same page. Would you like to add them to the list of losers in L.A.?
Well, it didn't look like the GM was angry. It looked like the head coach wasn't real happy with the pick. And the reality is look, Matt Stafford is probably playing his last year. The Rams have already indicated with like Trent McDuffie deal that they want to go all in and try and win it again like they did a couple years ago when they made the deal to go get Jalen Ramsey and they won it. But the reality is Sean McVay is good friends with Matt Stafford. They go places together. They hang out together. He can't be happy if he wasn't in on this. And they said, well, we called Matt Stafford. If I'm Matt Stafford and I get that call probably from Les Snead, and he says we're going to draft a quarterback at number 13, I'm not happy about that. I'm going to say, well, why? Yeah. Well, you only have 1 year left. That's what the explanation will be. Okay, but I have 1 year left. Let's go for it. Go get me a wide receiver with some juice. Get me somebody that can take the top off a little bit in this passing offense. I know we've been good, but we can be even better if we're really going for it. Get me something else. So I think Matt Stafford, from that standpoint, is the loser, in large part because he's back for another year and they didn't help him try and win.
You know what? I don't disagree, and we can talk about Ty Simpson being a good fit in this offense. Even if Ty Simpson wins 8 Super Bowls, if Matthew Stafford had an opportunity to win a Super Bowl this year, if they had gotten traded for Makai Lemon, if they took Omar Cooper Jr., man, they could have taken Kenyon Sadiq. I think anything skill position-wise would have been a better choice.
Even the offensive lineman.
Right.
And 4 of their offensive linemen, I think, or 3 or 4 of them are in the last year of the deals.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of them situations, man. Like I again, like the post draft presser is like it's baffling to me.
Yeah.
I hope, by the way, I hope this isn't the case because they've been such a well-run organization with Les Snead and Sean in sync that you hate to see. You hope this isn't one of those situations when we've seen it many a time in this league where ego gets in the way of something, and that's never a good
Right.
thing.
And look, all we're doing is reading body language and listening to the words and the way they were saying.
That's not hard to read.
But I'm right. We do not know the truth, as you're pointing out. But based on what our eyeballs told us, what are you saying after you make the first-round pick? Is the PR person there? You're obviously talking to the head coach. Like, what's the conversation when you're going to, hey, let's go talk about the fact that we took J.C. Latham here, for example?
No, so you make the pick, you speak to the player. Obviously, you know, B-Mac's been on the other end of the call. You pass the phone around. GM, head coach, owner, sometimes coordinators in the room, position coach. Everyone's excited. And then you step back. And then the PR guy comes in and, all right, well, we're going to go speak to the local guys in 10 minutes. This is probably what's coming, and there's a little rundown of the questions that are coming. And so we kind of talk through it back there about the who, what, when, where, and why, and then you go out and you do it.
What I didn't see, we saw the clip of it. Did anybody ask the next follow-up question? You don't seem too happy about this, Sean.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that? And I didn't see that. I didn't see any.
Yeah.
If I was there, I would ask that question.
know you would have.
Hell yeah. You don't seem too happy with it. Why? Did you not want
that
this?
That would have been your first question.
Of course. As soon as I saw him walk in all slumped over and the way he was, I'm serious. They lost the championship game to the Seahawks in tough fashion, and he didn't look that disappointed.
But again, and that's why context matters. You know,
Right.
we can't be so quick to rush to judge of what this really is, because how many times have we seen clips being posted and it's not even in a line with what the question was?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, but that was more than just answering a question. It looked like he wasn't into it. It didn't look, usually when, and you know, draft night, the phone gets passed around. Hey, welcome to the team. Hey, welcome to the team. And then you go down the hallway and everybody's all, look, we got this guy. Even though 3 years later, you're probably cutting him. But,
After the war room site, when the coaches talk about the first-round pick, most coaches and GMs are happy.
Right.
You know, but for Sean, we didn't see what we usually seen from him in years past.
And you know, it's the culmination of so much work that you let it all out, and you're just
and you're like, man, we
exuberant.
got our guy,
yeah,
man.
we
We're
have
happy.
everybody. That was telling.
Maybe he had the flu, in which case I would understand him being slumped down.
He had no flu.
He didn't, yeah.
You know who has-
he had this? He had the Simpson flu, is what he had.
You know who also has the black and gold flu? B-Mac, who are your losers?
The Steelers. The Steelers by losing. The Steelers by losing. And this is no knock on Max.
Maxie
right?
not sure. Has nothing to do with the right
It has
tackle.
nothing to do with Max.
is gonna be a good
I
player.
think Max is going to be a really, really good player. And quiet as kept, I don't know if there's another right tackle that's faced the dogs that he faced last year.
Right.
You know, Malachi, you know,
Bailey.
UCF, yeah, Bailey, and stood up against some high-level first-round type guys. But the Steelers are my loser because of what transpired right before their pick was up.
What happened?
Calling Makai Lemon. There's a report that the Steelers called Makai Lemon.
Makai admitted it.
Yeah.
So it's not a report.
Yeah, it's legit, right? That he was on the phone with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers had all intent to draft him, and they were letting Makai know that. Well, while they were having that phone call, the Philadelphia Eagles traded up with the Dallas Cowboys in front of the Pittsburgh Steelers to 20 to take Makai, right? So clearly they pulled a switcheroo on the Pittsburgh Steelers because they didn't think the Philadelphia Eagles would do any business with a division foe, and then secondly go up to 20 to go get the guy they wanted to get. So it felt like it put Pittsburgh in a very, very unprepared situation.
But how many times during the draft, did you call somebody and say, hey, if you're there, we're going to take you?
and that's where I was going to say, like, this is why you wait till you're on the clock.
Correct.
To make that call. You don't call a pick ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to your point, they got hit with that 52 fake out. You know that play where you fake the dive and you flip it to the back? I know you've probably been got with one of those.
I have.
before.
It's a
But
good eye discipline.
B-Mac talked about this earlier, Rand. I would imagine the Steelers figured that there's no way that Jerry Jones is going to do business with Howie Roseman.
But again,
But he could have done business with somebody else that would have gone up there and taken him.
Not at 20, though. At 20.
Right.
Again, regardless, we've seen, especially in NFC East, we've seen Philly trade Donovan McNabb to Washington.
Yeah.
We've seen these things happen in the NFC East. But to Pete's point, this is why you wait till you're on the clock. You may have the card already in front of you. Hey, get Makai Lemon's number for me, and let's make sure that this is right. And may have it on a Post-it note, sitting here waiting. And if he's not picked, all right, guys, Makai Lemon, we're going to get ready to turn it in. Let's make sure. But you wait until you're on.
Well, I'm saying somebody else, another team
Outside
could
of
have
the
come up.
Eagles.
Could have come up. So, yeah.
But
That's why you wait.
But here's the insult to injury. Let me ask you this. Again, no knocks to the right tackle. He's not going to start right away. Would you rather have had a developmental right tackle or Omar Cooper Jr.?
And see, that was going to be my next thing. If you were trying to get a wide receiver that can contribute right now, and if Makai Lemon is gone, Omar Cooper is the next best option. Why not still go get a wide receiver in Omar Cooper, who we all loved? Right?
Maybe they didn't love him.
And maybe they didn't.
Okay.
But if
Hold on. They had Casey Concepcion available.
Maybe they didn't love him. But here's the other thing. Sometimes, and I'm going to say this because I've watched this over the course of history of many times I cover this draft. Sometimes the best moves you make are the ones you don't make. We might look back on this in 5 years from now, and you look there as a dominant all-pro right tackle, just mauling dudes in the run game, and you look at their wide receiver. He's a good player, but he's not a tier 1 wide receiver. So I think in the history of the Steelers, developing guys on their offensive and defensive lines, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt a little bit here. So I'm okay. Look, did they want Lemon? Sure, but it might work out for the best.
But that's why I said no knock on Max.
Pete.
But
Arizona
big people.
State there's only so many big people who can play the game.
Oh yeah, Arizona State.
Right?
But I like Max.
That has nothing to do with ASU.
I like Max. I'm not knocking Max. I think Max is going to be a good player, but how much will he contribute this season?
It's a Ty Simpson effect for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Kind of, sort of, O-line wise. I think
they might need him to. If the left tackle can't play, they might end up
maybe
playing.
he should be ready, but we know the known is that Makai can give us something right now, especially with Michael Pittman Jr., all the tight ends, DK Metcalf. You throw him in maybe at the slot. Right. You know, he's going to contribute week 1. We don't know.
Again, if you win with offensive and defensive
I don't disagree.
In this
It's just the rug got pulled from underneath.
It did, 100%, and I'm right there with you. Two things to Pete's initial point. We don't know how this. 2013, there was no one to draft, and then they took Eric Fisher, number 1, because they had to, the Chiefs, and then Luke Jokel went number 2.
It was a garbage. Deion Jordan was in that draft.
Number 4 was some guy named Lane Johnson who's going to be a Hall of Famer. You just don't know. The other thing, our Eagles fan won't quit tweeting at us here or texting me. The Cowboys also traded with the Eagles when they came up to get Slim Reaper as well, Devonta Smith. So they've done business before. I guess Omar didn't know that little fun nugget there. So
just didn't think it would happen tonight.
B-Mac, I would ask you to put your seatbelt on because I can't wait to hear Rand's loser.
Yeah, what's Rand's?
My loser is a person that we hold dear to our heart, that we love, and we know is just really going through something right now.
Who is it? Look at
Bryant, and I'm gonna give you a middle name, Bryant Leofus McFadden.
How did I make your losers?
You are my loser for today because you are so emotional about this pick.
You cried more than Jordan Tyson did tonight, and that's saying something. That kid had a flood underneath him after he cried.
Because when we were sitting in the green room, and as we're talking about the picks that are coming, if you could have seen your face, if I could have pulled my phone out and took a picture.
I'm glad you did.
Because your face was, your jaw was down here, your eyes were bucked.
His lip was trembling.
And this hurts you.
The only thing worse would have been if it was Carson Beck.
Oh, that's coming though.
That might come. That might come tomorrow.
Yeah, you were
today.
You look like Sean McVay looked after that.
I'll slump down.
You know what? But honestly, the reason why I looked that way, Rand, and you shouldn't have been paying attention to me like that, was because we wanted another guy.
Right.
Now, if you told me there was no phone call being made to Makai Lemon, I don't feel that way because clearly Max was the guy.
Let me ask
but you called him because you was trying to draft him.
Let me ask you, B-Mac, because B-Mac and I were together. You were there, Pete, but B-Mac and I had gone for a walk in Las Vegas, the 2022 draft, with the Steelers on the clock at pick 20, and we heard over the loudspeaker, and the Steelers select Kenny Pickett. Do you feel worse about that? Or?
That.
Okay, well, there you go. You got something
You
to
solved your quarterback issues.
Who?
Kenny Pickett.
No, he didn't solve it. But I felt worse about that.
That was a tough pill to swallow, for sure.
So again, now you see why B-Mac's my loser, because this really affects you.
What's his middle name?
Leofus.
Leofus.
How do you even spell Leofus?
You know how to spell it.
L-E-O-Fus.
All right. I don't know for certain, but my loser, his middle name might also be Leofus. Pete, I'm going to come to you because the Patriots traded up, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they got Caleb Lomu, the left tackle out of Utah, And we've heard the ball coach say that Will Campbell is going to what? Stay at left tackle?
All he said after the Super Bowl, he's our left tackle. He's going to be a left tackle. He's going to stay at left tackle.
So
even
what-
though I always thought he was a guard, but
Is
that's
this,
another issue.
do you agree that this potentially is not a great development for Will Campbell as a left tackle going forward?
Well, look, there are guys that you can look at him and you say, he could be a left tackle, he could be a right tackle, he could play both. This kid's a left tackle. And you look at him and he looks like a left tackle. So I don't know. We haven't seen what they said yet, but I would imagine what's going to happen. He's going to be the left tackle. Will Campbell kicks inside the left guard, and the left guard kicks inside the center.
Is that Jared Wilson?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden you kick, your offensive line is much bigger, much better.
And you deal with Morgan Moses after next year when his contract expires?
Yeah. And then if Morgan Moses next year, if you decide, okay, he's not going to come back, you bring Campbell and maybe move him over to the right side and play the right tackle.
Rand, let me ask you, you guys drafted Peter Skoronski, left tackle at Northwestern, knowing that he was going to be a guard. I know we've talked about this, but just for the sake of our conversations here, any similarities with Will Campbell potentially doing that?
I felt like when we took Peter Skoronski, we were taking him as a guard, right? Similar thing, shorter arms, didn't know that he had the range to kick and be able to play on the perimeter at tackle. But you knew he was plenty strong, he was stout at the point, which made you feel good about transitioning him to guard. I feel like there is a core strength issue with Will Campbell.
Was that a function of the injury or before?
No, I think it was before,
Okay.
right? But again, I feel like this offseason, hopefully we'll see a stronger player. And the reason why I say that is because his first offseason coming into the year, he was training for the combine, he was training for pro day. You didn't have time to develop the deficiencies in your game. Now, after you've gone through your first year, you know you need to get stronger. Your entire offseason program could be about you getting bigger, putting more mass on, putting on weight the right way, and getting stronger. Now, is it going to be a significant jump? Probably not, because that's just innately what his body structure is. So for me, I don't know that he could be a full-time guard in the way that they play football offensively, just because it's a core.
Well, he's going to have to get more power. I mean, there's no question about it. He's going to have to get stronger.
And look, he could actually be a winner as being a fantastic guard.
I wonder what he benched at the combine.
Yeah, we got to look those numbers up.
He-
But also,
he-
too, now, to give
He
Will
loves
some credit, before the injury, Will was playing pretty good
was.
football.
So, okay, but why,
He
if
never
he's-
came back right. And maybe he came back a little too soon
Yeah.
where he
If you're
wasn't
not-
all the way
But
right.
if you're not moving him to guard, why are you
I'll
making
tell you,
this pick?
producer Lucas got in my ear. Elliot Wolf, the GM of the Patriots, said they had a first-round grade on Lomu, and they felt like there's a huge drop-off at tackle after Caleb, so they went up and got him.
Okay, that doesn't explain anything.
Yeah,
What's
where
the
is he
explanation
playing?
for it?
Where is he
Where are you
playing?
playing? Where's he playing?
Ask that question. Ryan.
I mean,
I'm laughing because producer Lucas got us. He did 25 on the bench press. He got 25.
Yeah, okay, I like that. What are y'all talking about?
Am I wrong?
here-
There's no
He was straight
explanation.
on the
There's no
football field.
explanation. If
like
you're not playing him,
I
it's
asked-
a bad pick.
Don't cover your ears, Rand. I asked Caleb at the combine, are you also working at right tackle? He said, yes, I am. Rand says everyone says that, but
But see that, and the reason why I say that, Ryan, like all of these dudes, whatever offensive line guru they go and they train with, they all train from both sides.
So
that doesn't take away from what's natural and what's most comfortable to
Right.
you.
No.
Right? He's played pretty much.
breaking news. Elliot Wolf said Will Campbell staying at left tackle.
Okay.
So where is Caleb?
He can
Lewis?
play right.
He look at him. Does he look
You
like
look
a
at
right
him.
tackle? He doesn't look like a right
I don't know
tackle.
what that means.
A right tackle is usually a big square power
What does a left
guy.
tackle look like? Huh? What's a left tackle?
He's got better feet. He moves better.
Hey, what does a left tackle look like?
No, I didn't go that. I went like that.
According to Pete, this is a
So
left
he
tackle.
said he's staying at left tackle. Okay, if he's staying at left tackle, so if he's staying at left tackle, it's a bad pick.
Stop it.
It's
they
a bad
just
pick.
drafted the kid. Give him a break.
And they got him in the back end of the first round. What are you
Okay,
talking
but
about?
what's the rationale behind it?
First
What do you
round grade, drop off at tackle after that.
Yes.
Okay, but
But here's what I'll say. I think the plan is for him to be the right tackle, right?
Caleb.
And, Caleb.
Yeah.
not this year.
What?
No, not this
Well,
year.
Morgan Moses has one more year left on his deal.
And the reason why I say that, and Pete, you know this, B-Mac, everyone up here knows this, a lot of the elite edge rushers, they rush from over the right tackle.
Right.
And so you need a guy that's going to be able to kick and play that position.
But the right tackle, you're also right-handed running the ball a lot of the time, and you want that guy to be a little bit more.
But Pete, I think we got to get out of this way of thinking of left tackle, right tackle, the right tackle being the mauler, the left tackle being the athlete, because I think right now in today's game, for that very reason, that, and we know Myles Garrett plays both sides. Max Crosby primarily rushes over the right tackle. Nick Bosa primarily rushes over the right tackle. T.J. Watt primarily rushes over the right tackle. You need 2 elite tackles that can pass.
You better believe it.
But again, he's probably 25 pounds underweight for what he needs to be.
He just turned 21.
Okay, but here's the other part of it. Even if he is the right tackle next year, it doesn't do much for this year. This is a team that went to the Super Bowl last year.
They are in much better shape than the Steelers, so they have that luxury. That's what I would say to that.
And like I said, if Will Campbell is 100% healthy, I mean, I think he could. They're going to give Will an opportunity to show that he cannot play right tackle or he can. Right. That's why they drafted him, fourth a year ago.
You know, and I would tell Will to work on his guard sets a little bit, because eventually he's going in there.
Now, Will trying to play.
B-Mac and I will tell Will what I tell my 19-year-old. I can trust you till I can't trust you.
Yeah, that's what this is.
The difference is halfway through training camp.
For my 19-year-old, for Will.
For Will.
Okay. So do you know what a left tackle and a right tackle look like now, Ryan?
You should.
I'm gonna work. We're gonna take
Been
a break.
around the league a long time. You should know.
Right tackle.
We're gonna take a break.
Left tackle.
What did Villanueva look like?
He was tall.
He was
like
tall.
That.
He looked like a